Today we are back with our, oh gosh, I'm going to have to wait for Kate to join to figure out which number of episode we're on here of Insider Secrets. And we are talking about a vital habit that you need to break in order to grow. In order to grow as a human, in order to grow such an important piece of um, personal evolution, that you are invited to lean into and explore. Hey there, Kate.
Hi there. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good. I'm good. I'm super good. Yeah. So excited for this topic today. It's a potent one.
Yes, it is. I think it's one that can relate to a lot of people. I
Oh
think we all
gosh.
do this to a certain degree.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think we all do it, period. You know, like even as I was waiting for you to come in, I was thinking about how beautifully this topic is covered in The Big Leap, in multiple
Hmm.
chapters, right? It's addressed in that and Gay Hendricks uses some like very, very potent examples, like really dramatic. But what we were going to talk about today is more subtle, right? More subtle places where it shows up. And so I'd love for you to open the conversation by saying out loud what the topic is and telling what it,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, the habit that we can work on is self-sabotage. And I think
Hmm.
that that comes up, as we said, for a lot of us, most of us, but it comes up in some really, really interesting places.
Hmm.
It comes up operationally. I see
Hmm.
it in
Hmm.
places. Probably the biggest place is the mindset of doing it all. Either the mindset of I have to do it all myself, or the mindset of I am going to do it all myself.
Hmm.
Um, and just really like holding on to that and not being willing to let it go. And I think that like there's an in between. I think there's an in between of holding on to it and fully letting it go. Like the in between is like baby steps. Like
Hmm.
you really can start to train yourself to be okay releasing small pieces of your
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
Um, to see what that feels like to you. Because
Hmm.
I think as an entrepreneur, like you're so going to stunt your growth and of your business if you hold on to that mentality of doing it all yourself.
Oh yeah, you know that's so beautifully true. And I was thinking in almost this like sort of spidery way about the two things you just shared, both I have to do it all myself,
Mhm.
or
Or I
I
need to.
yeah, I need to, and I think
Yeah.
some of that, so as women, which is the population we primarily support, people are usually very empathic and they're old souls and like they are used to carrying everything and they're not good at receiving. So that's kind of where on the mindset side, the have to do it all myself comes in, is
Hmm.
I can't ask for help. It shows weakness.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that would be inappropriate. And there's also this feeling of I can't let people know where my vulnerabilities are, that I will
Hmm.
be seen as less than. Like people are going to figure out, wait, they think I'm a genius, but I'm actually not that
Right.
smart. I've got flaws, right? And the opposite is actually true. Like the
Hmm.
more that you're just like, hey, I'm human in this way, I am absolutely a vulnerable soul and I need help. Like that's where we grow the most
Hmm.
powerfully.
I like we are not meant to be experts in every single thing. That is not that. Why are we here? We're here to learn. Like we're here to grow, and that means that we're not an expert if we're still learning things. So being open to that vulnerability, I think, is a really big step towards addressing kind of that self-sabotage.
Oh, it's vital, and yet, as you said a few minutes ago, it's learned, especially
Mhm.
for entrepreneurs, because you're really kind of at the painful edges of the shakiness of believing in yourself and, trusting your own projects. Like it is a vital thing to allow yourself to ask for help, but it is also terrifying. Both truths are
It
true.
is. It's
Hmm.
very true. So I can jump into some things that I suggest on the operational side, some
Yeah.
tips for that I see. Mm, So I think it really comes down to like taking just that first step. And a lot of times that first step as a business owner is acknowledging that you may need a little bit of help and doing that in a small way. Like think about a project that you know that you can do if you spend time researching it, if you play around with it for hours, if you like carve out an entire day to just focus on it. Sure, you can get it done, or you can hire someone who can get it done faster for you
Mhm.
and without you needing to be like use your full brain power. You think about those hours that you can get back to use for something else. So, having some help, hiring an expert in that on a small project is like a baby step into being open to not doing it all yourself.
Yeah, but I want to break that baby step down into, I guess, what I would call like micro,
Okay.
micro. Yeah.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Like I'm trying to think. Martha Beck had a term for it, and I wish I could remember right now. But I should have researched that before because she did teach us a technique for this. But it's like teeny, 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 tiny steps. Because when you first ask for help, in your business, there are mistakes that we naturally will make, and one of them is hiring mini me's. Hiring people who
Mhm.
think the same way that we do, who approach problems the same way that we do. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would say it's a natural evolutionary step. And because you're nervous, let me just loop this back to something that we learned from Sarah Blakely, which is that when you're first developing your ideas, when you're first growing your deepest heart purposes, you are protecting the tender shoot of what it is that you're growing, right? I mean, that's what she advises, and it's smart. And Wayne Dyer was one of her teachers. And so she protected the development of her business by only sharing little pieces of it with people so that it wouldn't get smushed. And when you do share and somebody either smushes it or does it wrong or doesn't help you see it a different way, it can be very deflating. But what's
Mhm.
actually true in that experience is that you're learning how to delegate, and you're learning how to direct people, and you're learning how to be supported. Right? You're learning the experience of being supported. And let me tell you, it won't come naturally to you. I'm not saying this just for myself. I'm saying this from having supported hundreds of clients. Like being supported doesn't come naturally to most people who we support, who are these old souls and highly empathic people. Would you say
Right.
that that's true, Kate?
Yeah, it very much true. It is definitely a muscle that needs to start being strengthened. It doesn't come fully ready to do the powerlifting.
Mm-mm.
So,
Mm-mm. No, it doesn't. And so and going back to this feeling of I'm human, right? I don't
mhm,
think about this right, or I have a problem with procrastination, or I overthink things. Like to even be able to say that out loud, um, I'll just speak from my own experience. Like it can take years, and I'm not
mhm,
saying I hope it doesn't. The sooner you can say it, the better. But it can be very scary. Like the throat chakra is such a powerful vortex. Many master teachers speak of this. And so to learn to use that appropriately and say, I want to feel safe in this way it's like on the operation side, which Kate is speaking to, that is how your business evolves. But it's also how you evolve,
yes.
it's how
Yeah,
you evolve, right?
it is. There's so much wrapped up between personal development and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's why
They
we
are
work. That's
very
why
much
we
one
work
and the same.
together. Yeah, they really are kind of one and the same. And I think that, not, I mean, this is one of the things that Kate and I came across. And let's just be honest about our own process on this, right? It probably took us 18 months or so to figure out, oh, this is actually a pretty hot combo, is like understanding this is where human beings get stuck beautifully, vulnerably, and when they are able to unfold the petals of their lotus to like pre-quote the newsletter we're dropping this weekend, like then it's all of a sudden they just are like, oh my gosh, there's more oxygen in the room, right? Like
Hmm.
this can work. I can feel safe, this I can be supported and I don't have to do everything.
It's so true. It's that's and you open up space for to bring in
Mm.
so much more of what you need, and so
Look at
much more of
look at
what
the
can
part of
nourish
your
you.
look at the part of your body you're touching right now, right? It's like,
That's true.
yeah, it's like you're and it's we like kind of now more than ever, and I don't love that phrase because I think it's probably from NBC or something, but I think now more than ever, like we really want, the world needs this magic that you have inside. It wants you to be self-expressed, it wants you to evolve in your deeply personal way. And so the invitation is to recognize that exactly where you are uncomfortable, it's where you want to let
Right.
something in. It's where you want to let something in. And, back when I used to train coaches, which I did for 6 years, I used to use the fairy tale of the princess and the pea. And if you guys haven't read that story, and I'm sure everybody has, like one of the main points of the story is that the prince's mother puts a pea in between like 20 different mattresses, and the princess, the queen's trying to figure out if this princess is a real princess, and the princess can't sleep. She just tumbles around all night, and the next morning, they discover there's a pea. And that's how it is for all of you guys. Okay. Like everybody is a prince or a princess, and there are these P's, and they come in the form of procrastination, or I can't ask for more, or I have to do everything, or I need to be very stubborn about this thing. And those are the places where you really want to lean in and recognize I can't even see the tendril that needs to unfold, but this should be different. This could be different.
Right.
Right.
You feel that it can be different. And sometimes seeing what needs to be different is something that you can ask for help with.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it is. And I think this is such a sweetly potent topic because we can talk about this on a very specific, I need help with a project and I am going to
Mhm.
outsource one project to somebody. But we could take it all the way up to metaphysics, which is the more that I allow that there's another
Mhm.
layer, like the better it gets, the better it gets,
Mhm.
and that's what the master teachers are telling us. And so the geniuses about operations are saying, look, find that thing you don't want to do, or find that thing you are overwhelmed by doing and let go. And the master teachers are saying, recognize that you can't see, like you're still working with your box of 8 crayons, but you actually could allow that there are more than
Yeah,
8 colors in the box, right?
exactly. Yes, it just goes back to when you whatever you decide to um start with, I guess, is a good way to say that. Like it's still yours. You're just giving it some distance. Um, that the distance fills in with so much good.
Mm, I love that. Like that
Hmm.
just makes my own shoulders relax. And I would say I feel examples from my own life are some of the most pertinent ways that I have learned this. And so, like on a personal level, for example, as you guys know, I was a single mom. And I mean, I still am. Like my kids are still alive, they're all grown up now. But when I started to just feel really overburdened around dinner time, it was just every day. It was such a slog. Like, the kids
Hmm.
need to eat every single day, you know,
Yes.
and like, why? And then I started reaching out to my neighbors, who were married. Like all of my neighbors, were married and had families and stuff, but we would team up to serve dinner together.
Mm.
And yeah, and one person would make part of the meal, one person do the salad, one person do the main course. And it made dinner time so much more fun for
Mhm.
everybody. And those are some of my girls' memories, best memories like to this day. And so a place where I felt completely overburdened and felt like I had to handle it all ended up being a place that I opened up and we allowed in something different that created this magic in our lives. And that's how it
Oh,
would be. Yeah.
yeah, I love that story. That's a great example. the memories that come with it too. Like
Mm-hmm.
you get to hold on to those forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So on a business level, I'm thinking
Hmm.
of people that we've been supporting recently and how what I see on my side of the equation is, and I just feel kind of some tears in my own throat when I think about this, is how incredibly painfully stuck someone can feel. And the reason we like to support clients very intimately, giving them super tight access to us, in the way
Hmm.
that we like the platforms that we use and how available we are, is because those emotions are really powerful and they can like for lack of a better term kind of concretize your energy. They really can freeze you up, but if you share them with us, like, I don't know what to do, I
Hmm.
really am kind of on my knees. Or there was one
You're
person
feeling
who,
stuck.
you're stuck. There was one person we have who was doing one project with us, but was doing another project someplace else and didn't realize she could lean in and ask for a little more help on that other project so she could relax. And she's like, I could ask you guys about that. And we're like,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, of course, And her whole world lightened up just because we
Hmm.
recognize she's stressed. She's handling too much. And so many things unfolded for her when she did, right?
It did. It was so beautiful just seeing that release of tension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's a perfect example. She wasn't meant to hold it all herself and just asking for help really just the shoulders go down.
Yeah, so the main point that I really want to get across here, and I feel like this is almost Kate's side of the equation, but it makes so much sense to me, is you have to practice it. You have to
Hmm.
practice asking for help, and you have to train yourself to understand that at times the help won't be perfect. It won't be perfect,
No.
and that your job, if you will, is to recognize that you get to feel better, you get to feel safer, you get to feel, more expanded in your experience. And so if you ask for help and it doesn't feel right the first time or two, that's just information, it's
It
just
is.
data. Yeah.
It's information and you learn from it. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, the reason I didn't like this was X, Y, and Z, so I need to look for A, B, and C next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and it makes things better in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is you kind of alluded to this, it's just a muscle that you need to learn, like that you need to flex a little bit, that you need to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, taking, like, we can acknowledge that it is just a practice.
Mm-hmm.
Taking that baby step allows you to like get comfortable with it and maybe bring on a team member eventually that can hold that spot. Um, bring in support into your business. So that one baby step, you end up climbing the whole mountain.
Yeah, you do. And something else we talked about in rehearsal is the way that things look. Um, on social media. And I
Mhm.
think it's just actually important to acknowledge this because a lot of people, even though we all understand that the key thing in marketing this year is authenticity, I'm saying that slightly tongue in cheek because while people are definitely marketing authenticity, like in my industry and coaching, people have moved away from, 5 things you need to do right now to grow to, this is what I'm doing today to grow. This is where I'm getting help. Still, you guys, it's filtered. Okay. Let's just be real, right? It still is. Like, it's not like people are getting raw and naked and saying,
Right.
this is where I'm falling to my knees. They're like showing pieces of their lives that are still highly curated. Okay. They're highly curated. And so if you are in this experience of, I have to be not perfect, but sort of really, really good.
Or
Like,
show up in a certain way.
yeah, no. Mm-mm.
No, show up for yourself. Show up that's true to yourself, I think is like the best guidance. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to, what do we go? Progress is better than perfect.
Yeah, I think this isn't something I shared in rehearsal, but it feels actually pertinent to share. I come from a family that has a lot of perfectionists. They're very intellectual, my family. And you guys, I'm embarrassed to tell you, I mean, probably 40 grand on coaching, at least maybe 50 on coaching, where I was not entirely performative, but like it was difficult for me to really be vulnerable and say, this is where I'm
Hmm.
struggling. I felt like I had to show up to the coaching with my shit together. Like I just really I
Mm-hmm.
want you guys to hear that. Like
Yeah.
I felt like I've got to look good for the coach, and I've got to seem like I'm a really good coach, and I've got to seem like,
You
I'm
gotta be
super,
on it. Yeah.
yeah. And
Have
you know
all
what?
your ducks in a row.
All my ducks in a row. And you know what I ended up with from that? I mean, sure, I met some amazing people and I learned some stuff, but I also ended up with a lot of trauma
Hmm.
because I wasn't being properly supported and I didn't understand how to properly ask for support. And I was also following industry trends. And like, this is a pretty vulnerable thing to share with you guys, but it is not at all uncommon. And I see it, I don't see it in our clients, but I've seen it in clients that have come to us from other programs, and it's why we
Hmm.
work individually, one to one, because we're gonna see your patterns. I'm gonna tell you, like, if you come
It's
to work with
true.
us, like, we're gonna figure it out, because we've been there.
It's very true. It's the way that we work is very much meeting you where you are and not setting any type of expectation that you need to be at this level or at this level or have that in order already before we want to work with you because that's not the case. We want you to show up as you are.
Mhm.
The point of being in business for ourselves is so that it feels good to us. And your
Mhm.
business is not going to feel good to you if you're being performative or your business is you're running it the way that everyone else is running it, but it just doesn't feel good to you. Like that's not going to help you grow
God,
in your business or as a
in as
person.
a person, like it's funny because I'm just having this aha, even as we're talking
Hmm.
about this, that when I mean, my coaching practice was really built on the tenets of yoga, which means it's a personal practice. Like
Hmm.
you are leaning in and devoted to your practice. And that was weirdly not easier for me to do in yoga than it was, because it's so natural. It's part of yoga, but it wasn't part of coaching as I was taught it. I
Right.
wasn't, right? And so when I was offering that experience to my own clients,
Mhm.
but I wasn't permitting myself to have it. And that caused me a lot of pain. And when I see someone struggle with that performative energy, I so understand
I
how,
know.
yeah.
It's I feel like it is so easy to fall into that.
Hmm.
I mean, social media is a like is a great place where people fall into it. But it just, especially as women, we have this pressure to show up perfectly just from society. And it is something that we just need to drop.
Yeah, I mean, who wants a perfect friend? Do you know what I mean? Like, I want a friend that like has lipstick on their teeth, or,
Hmm.
like I don't want somebody who's going to bitch and complain, but I want, somebody who's vulnerable. I was sitting here this morning with my friend. I'm in this brand new house she just built, you guys. My friend has never built a house before. Okay. And my mom did this too, by the way. My mom built a house and she had never built a house before. And if you've ever built a house or designed a house, like, it has so many details. Like, it
Hmm.
is bananas. And I said to Betsy this morning, I'm like, Betsy, this is so beautiful what you did. Like, so many details, like thousands of details. And you know what she said back to me, you guys? The first thing she said was, I learned a lot.
Hmm.
She's like, I learned a lot, you know? And like, couldn't you just cry hearing that? Like,
Yeah.
her house is the business project that she's been doing now for a couple of years, and it's great. I can't tell if there are flaws. I mean, I'm sure there
No.
are, but that's what we
But
always say. Kate, you always say this to me. You're like, what it looks like on the outside to people,
Mhm.
like we can be crying behind the scenes, or like, this isn't going to work, or I'm terrified, or I'm angry. But on the outside, it doesn't look that way. And you need a space where you can be your human self, learning a lot. You need
It's
it.
true. We need
Mhm.
it. We're not meant to show up perfectly, but I'm yes, from like I always I I worked in hospitality for a long time, and I was opening a hotel up in this area, and had a COO during one of our like team orientations do. It was a very high-end luxury hotel, and our whole motto was like, you always presented yourself in front of the guests when you're on the floor. Everything is like you're a swan. You are so elegant gliding across the water. But underneath the water, like behind the scenes, especially opening a hotel, we are like this. Like
Mm-hmm.
our little feet were going so fast.
Mm-hmm.
That is part of business. That is how it is. It's like you don't have to have it all together, but you do present a great package outwardly, and you're also learning and growing, and sometimes you're scrambling. Your little swan feet are moving really fast behind the scenes.
I
That's
got
okay.
it. So I love that. Like we sell solutions and you guys do too. Like whatever it is that
Mhm,
you're marketing, you're
mhm,
selling a solution
mhm.
and your consumer like that's what we buy from, right? Like I want the end product, like I want the solution. But if it is a solution that requires processes, then that's what's really going to happen. You just don't, that's not the part that you're instantly marketing. This is the work you're going to have to do. And these are the pieces you're going to have, places you're going to have to be vulnerable, you know?
Yeah, it's very true. It
Hmm.
is, it's a process, and that's
Hmm.
okay. That's what the right support will allow space for that process to unfold and allow it to be messy at times, and that's okay. Like we are messy.
Yeah, we
Like things,
are.
it doesn't need to be perfect 100% of the time, and it shouldn't be perfect because that's not how we learn.
No, it's not at all. And I will say one more thing um, because I know we're starting to run long here, is, for a long time, I was a big fan of the podcast, How I Built This. And maybe you guys
Hmm.
have listened. It's so good. And yet I fall out of the habit of listening to it. And they started doing different kinds of episodes. So there are reasons why. But there is material that's very important to stay in touch with and revisit as you grow. Now, for you, it might not be How I Built This, but I found great resonance in that material because Guy Raz is such a skilled interviewer that he makes sure that he gets people to tell the, oh, we're barely going to make it, like we're really struggling moments. And as humans, those are the parts of the stories that we relate to because it helps us to learn how to surrender our own egos. And
Yeah.
surrendering your ego is a big, big, big part of success. You need your ego to grow the business, but you need to surrender to grow, right?
Yeah, that's very true. It's you have to be vulnerable. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
open.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm-hmm.
be, you have to create space to receive.
Oh,
Going back to, you know, the beginning of this, just coming full circle and, recognize areas that you are maybe self-sabotaging yourself in your business and creating a different way to do things, one that
totally.
makes more space
Mm-hmm.
for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. A different way. And it can be
Hmm.
small, as Kate said.
Hmm.
And but it's important to risk it and to let yourself be human. Like don't make the mistake I did and try to keep it together for your help. Like, let yourself learn how to be the leader, let yourself have what you want.
You want,
And
yeah.
yeah.
We all can have what we want.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy, but it's there. We just
Yeah,
have to work towards it and allow
totally.
space for it to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, great tips today, and thank you for your
Yes.
time, Kate. So much
Yeah,
fun. Yeah.
this was great.
Yeah,
Well,
it's delicious to see where those juxtapositions are. And you guys, we're practicing. We're
mhm.
practicing. But by the way, what number episode are we on? I
We
forgot.
are on, I think this is 10.
10. Okay, double
Yeah.
digits. So yeah, we're
Yep.
10 episodes in. And if you've watched us from the beginning, then like we're a little bit raw here. We're just learning.
Mhm.
We're learning, but that's how we grow.
Yeah, that's very true. So
Right?
it's all about, this is about practice. It's not about
That's right.
perfection.
No, no. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Okay. Bye,
Bye.
Kate.